this move is almost unprecedented in how fast it's occurred, but it's not just Bitcoin. You've got some of the blockchain technologies that were just left aside for so long that have exploded to the upside. HBAR it went up 40, 50, 60% this week in anticipation of policy coming out of both the SEC and the CFTC. Institutions are talking about these technologies now in a way that they didn't because they never thought they'd come to fruition. And so the whole crypto community is trying to figure out what's next. We think Bitcoin is the granddaddy of allocation to sovereign wealth. And, we're anticipating the SEC to put some rules out on this right after Trump takes over. So you've got a tremendous amount of demand here. Now, the challenge is most institutions have some regulatory boundaries. For example, no more than 5% in any one position or 21 or 20% in any one sector. And we're breaching those left and right 24/7 because we're having massive moves. And so the compliance departments are squeezing managers' heads every day trying to figure this out.
It's fascinating. But by the sound of it, you'd think it's going higher still, up and beyond 102, 103,000. That's what it sounds like.
I don't think right now the charts have no resistance, so it's anybody's guess. I want to call out something that happened yesterday on your show regarding digital technologies that is a derivative of it, because I've been getting a ton of people sending me the link to that interview you did with Danielle Smith from Alberta when she dropped that bomb that she has 200 trillion cubic feet of natural gas. That's all power. That's what that is, and that's what we need for Bitcoin mining. We need for AI data centers. I mean, she's coming out blasting there, Stuart. That was pretty interesting. Very interesting.
Big deal. We've invited her onto the show when she comes to America for the inauguration in D.C. We've invited her to come on the show in New York City. You might come and meet her.
Well, she's my new special friend if she's got that much energy, and she's going to be getting a lot of phone calls from other people just like me. I can guarantee you that.
I think it was 2018 I started investing. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I just for as a point of fact, for what it's worth, May 14th, 2019. You came on television and called Bitcoin garbage.
I'm wrong. I'm wrong. It's the year later.
And keeps it in
I'm sorry, guys.
And keeping the time, but also, Kevin. So prior to that, you hadn't looked at it at all.
Earlier this week. Now, with interest as high as ever in the cryptocurrency, this is indicative of why you might want to use a more risk-defined way to play Bitcoin prices, so you don't expose yourself to as much of the volatility, and maybe options might be the way to do that. So joining us now is Dennis Davitt, Chief Investment Officer at Millbank, Dartmoor, Portsmouth. Dennis, you have been an options guy we've looked towards in the past for this. Why exactly would you use options to play Bitcoin, and is it using those options on ETFs the most efficient way to do it?
Yeah, I mean, had you asked me this question 2 years ago, I would have stargazed at that point because I would not have known where to go, what exchange to trade these on. But there's just been a sea change with the ETFs being listed and now options on those ETFs.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that there could be any sort of retaliation on the part of China if a ban on TikTok goes through?
Absolutely. I'll add my kudos to Rebecca for pointing that out, too. I do believe that this is ultimately part of the chess match that's going on with the Trump administration, with where his relationships are growing, potentially with Zuckerberg, and what that means for TikTok. And to answer your question is that if this, in fact, does happen, if the U.S. does go and ban this, I think there's two paths. One is that China just basically folds, and it's a negotiating piece by saying they don't want to sell. I say China basically controls TikTok. It's a negotiating point. They say they don't want to sell. That negotiating piece is basically to scare lawmakers that their constituents would be disappointed if the app got banned. But at some point, if it's clear that they are going to get banned, they could fold and take the $100 billion and walk, the TikTok shareholders. But if not, it's going to come down to, if this does, in fact, get banned and they don't take the money, there's going to be some form of retaliation. The two obvious targets are Tesla and Apple.
In what way do you think the Chinese could exert, pressure on I mean, Tesla, they could do whatever to their factories. In terms of Apple, what would be the way you would be concerned about retaliation?
So China is the master at red tape, and I spent 7 years, spent a lot of time in China, covering a lot of the China internet companies, worked with a lot of Chinese people, and I was taught just in terms of what they want to do things is below the fold. And so the master of red tape would be just making it difficult, how many hours a week they could change some laws about number of hours a week that potentially someone could work. They could change how much power a given Foxconn factory can use in a given week. They can work. They did this to Tesla. They can impact the trucking companies that would take the Teslas to port to be exported to Europe. They could do something like that with Apple. So I don't think it would be something where it'd be a big headline. The last piece that they could do is they could have a big influence in terms of how Chinese people think about Apple products or Tesla products. They obviously control like what Weibo and that language is, and they can influence that conversation. And so there's a lot of levers below the fold that can be used. Unfortunately for investors, it's not going to be an obvious headline.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have Kevin O'Leary back. And anytime he's on mainstream media, we always get a pullback or some type of event happen. And Kevin O'Leary is another one who used to talk bad about Bitcoin. It's worthless. And then also it uses up too much energy. But when it comes to these data centers, don't say a word. And we've heard from BlackRock's Larry Fink on how much energy these data centers are going to be using and how much they're going to need. And you don't hear a word from mainstream media. No negative news whatsoever. You can't make this stuff up. And now that Bitcoin has made this big run up, we know the hedge fund guys are coming in. And they're going to be doing some pumping and dumping at the beginning of next year. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have the TikTok ban news coming back up. And of course, when Trump gets in, he's going to end up making that decision. But most likely, they're going to extend the ban. And then Trump, of course, keeps TikTok because there's a lot of money being made. But later on, as China and the United States tensions grow, I definitely see a TikTok ban down the road. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have the Fed in 2 weeks. Will they cut rates? We get CPI numbers this week coming up. And we have Jeremy stating that it's only going to be 2 or 3 rate cuts next year. And with these Trump tariffs, we know it's going to cause inflation. But remember, that's part of the plan. They have to destroy this legacy market in order for the fourth industrial revolution to rise. Now in crypto, we have the meme coins pumping, and now we have the meme stocks wanting to make a comeback. We have Roaring Kitty making another post, and GameStop shares become volatile. And I told you all these meme coins, meme stocks are going to be used as an excuse for this legacy market being destroyed. The sheep, of course, are just chasing the money. They don't even see the fourth industrial revolution right around the corner, the machine takeover. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And then we have the drums of beating, geopolitical events that are not getting a lot of attention from mainstream media. The Middle East is being turned upside down. And of course, guys, again, that is part of the plan. Remember, the NWO started in the Middle East and got ran on out of there. That's why they had to come to the West. And when it comes to the West, comes to America, this is the last free nation. But when you look at the Middle East, it's the last place where the people still stand up for the Most High. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Weakness in the household report, a little tick up in the unemployment rate, but everything else is working exactly the way the Fed wants. I think we're going to have a one rate cut on that December 18th meeting. But truthfully, I think only 2 or 3 rate cuts next year. I think this strength could last. And, with the stubborn inflation, I think that the Fed is going to settle down somewhere between 3.5 and 4. Not the 2.9% that they put in the last SEP report in their September meeting.
Shares of GameStop briefly halted for volatility yesterday. They jumped by as much as 14%. This after a cryptic post, we're going to show it to you, on X from Keith Gill, the trader known as, if you remember, Roaring Kitty. He posted a mock-up of a Time magazine cover, this time featuring a blank computer screen with a media player that resembles YouTube. It appears to be an edited version of the 2006 issue of Time when the magazine named you, meaning all of us,
was that
person of the year with the mirror.
The mirror, right?
That was the one with the mirror. Now, with the lack of context, traders made their own assumptions. Shares of Unity Software jumped, ticker U. So did the shares of Clear Secure Inc., ticker YOU, before eventually all closing lower. Welcome to the world of I don't know what.
Russia has launched airstrikes in Syria in support of the Syrian army. Will Vladimir Putin bail him out this time?
Well, thank you for having me again, Joe. For sure, he will come to the rescue, even reluctantly as he is. And that's what we've seen in Idlib province over the past couple of days, where we've seen massive bombardment of these opposition-controlled areas. Russia is tied to Syria in many different ways, amongst them a very important air base and naval base in Syria. But it's also the crown jewel of Russia's sort of reemergence into the world beyond its near abroad. It's a launching pad for its interventions in Africa. So without a doubt, it will eventually come to the rescue.
Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. We will, and if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting it more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the new World Order book, plus the 3 kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get home stocks, the Syria, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing, they were still getting that free money. What are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Drama Team save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Drama Team save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Drama Team goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.